I think it's fascinating that each season fans theorize that JJ might not make it.
One of the newest and most popular shows to hit the teen television scene is Outer Banks. The program balances being a mystery and a coming-of-age tale by following a group of youngsters who are determined to solve the mystery behind one of their father's disappearances. The narrative also explores the gap between the working-class Pogs and the wealthy Kooks. Since we are following the Pogs, danger is certain to ensue, particularly when the group's ringleader, John B. Chase Stokes, draws them farther into a mystery they shouldn't be near. The true enigma of Outer Banks, however, is why none of these children appear to have moms and why they all have father difficulties. John B. starts Outer Banks by looking into his father's unexplained disappearance from years ago, which eventually ensnares his friends as well. We are therefore given father issues from the beginning, about which we do not yet have the whole narrative. Therefore, it should not be shocking that the other Pogs also have problems with their dads or father figures. However, when it comes to elaborating on the characters' domestic life, it appears to be the show's only goal. Indeed, it creates intriguing storylines, but it seems a bit unlikely that every child in the community with father difficulties will wind up being friends with one another unless they are all members of a support organization. Furthermore, none of the Pogs make reference to their moms. The situation of Kiara Madison Bailey, whose mother frequently appears on the show, is one example of an exception. Conversely, Pope's Jonathan Davis' father is a big, controlling figure who has high expectations for his son, which he expresses, although in a somewhat forceful manner. His mother is still alive and healthy, but we don't see her very often. We never hear from her, but her viewpoint on her husband's expectations for their son would be fascinating and even provide Pope some respite with almost all Pogs. This is true. It's a bizarre narrative omission that seems particularly like a loss when you realize how much the dads play in these children's lives. We either know very little about their mother or nothing at all. With each new episode, Outer Banks does a fantastic job of telling an engaging and interesting tale. Ranging from romantic intrigue to ongoing dangers to the Pogs' life, whether from their own escapades or kooks. However, their dads' problems also have a far greater impact on their development, or lack thereof, than you may first imagine. It goes without saying that John B.'s father's disappearance defines him, and as was already established, his investigation into it serves as the series' inciting act. But we also don't know anything about his mother, which appears to contribute to John B.'s sense of loneliness throughout the series. It helps us see why he is so determined to locate the riches connected to his father's abduction. Each character struggles with their own father, which seems to give them a famous purpose, so it's not only John B. who is impacted by his father's decisions. For example, J.J. Ruddy Pankow turns to John B. and the other Pogs for solace from his violent father, Luke. J.J. discovers and creates his own in the Pogs via this fractured family. In Season 4, we discover that Chandler Groff, J. Anthony Crane, is actually his biological father. In case you were hoping for a better father figure, it turns out to be worse. Chandler not only murdered J.J.'s biological mother, Larissa, but he also killed him years after leaving him with Luke. However, Sarah's Madeline Klein relationship with her father is arguably the most complicated. She and her father have a wonderful relationship at the start of the series, and she claims she can't imagine her life without him. However, as she becomes more involved with John B. and the other Pogs, she gradually comes to understand that her father isn't who she believed him to be, and that he is actually involved in some very illegal activities. Although it's a difficult trip for her to get there, she finally decides to do the right thing, break off her father, and make her own path after struggling throughout the series with her allegiance to her family and what she feels is right. We don't know anything about her mother though, like many of the others. It's interesting that we have no idea whether she is still alive. The status of her original mother is unknown, although she has a tumultuous connection with her stepmother. Outer Banks inserts the mothers at the back of the series for no apparent purpose or rhyme. However, the only plausible explanation for the dads is that, as the group's organizer, John B. sort of draws people with complex father-child connections. The program will probably never address this and explain why it mainly discusses the Pogs' ties with their dads, but perhaps in the future it will offer the moms more than a few lines every season. In addition to the fact that Sarah is going to become a mother herself, the absence of maternal figures plays a significant role in the story.